I've been wanting to buy a drill press for some time now, and here it is. Silverline 350 watt drill press. If you're following my other videos, you'll know I'm doing a guitar restoration, and I need to be doing some very precise drilling and indeed routing. Yes, I said routing. So I'm looking forward to using this. So let's get it unpacked and let's get it set up. Okay. Instruction manual, I assume. Yep, unpacking your drill press. Before use, assembling your drill press. Yeah, I think I might have to read this manual. What have we got here? That appears to be the base. And the platform. The guard. Assembly hardware. Oh, the collet. We won't need that just yet, so is that a 1/2 inch collet, I wonder? Might have to measure that. We have. Well, it wouldn't be a pillar drill without a pillar, would it? And the heaviest lump of all, the main body of the drill. Well, it's certainly fairly substantial. This is quite heavy. Right, let's get rid of the box and let's get this thing put together. Oh. Reading the instructions. Tools required for assembly and operation not included. Phillips screwdriver and spanner. Doesn't say what size, so I have a selection. What's the betting? It's not going to be there, but I've got an adjustable spanner. So we'll see. I don't know what the spanner's needed for just at the moment. This product will have traces of oil and grease on its component parts to protect against corrosion. Clean off such residue before assembly, especially the chuck mounting and the internal fitting of the chuck. Okay. Step 1. Secure the column to the base using the supplied bolts, spring washers and washers. The spring washers fit between the bolt head and the washer. One base, one quite greasy base. Maybe not that greasy, just a bit of dirt. And packaging. One column. Right, bolts. This is where I tip everything on the floor. 1, 2, 3 spring washers, bolts. So they're There are no washers. We'll just use the spring washers. So either they've decided that you don't actually need washers with this, just the spring washers, which I guess it's okay if you just got the spring washer. Why have the washers as well? But instructions don't reflect that. Right, what size is this? No. Oh, bingo, 14mm. You need a 14mm spanner. Don't know whether this is one of these things where you're going to have to go around afterwards tightening everything up once it's in use. And all the vibration has loosened everything, we'll see. Slide the table onto the column and tighten the table locking handle when approximately 150mm from the base. Quite a rough surface to the table, roughly milled. Don't know whether it's worth trying to get some wet and dry on that and level it. Maybe not, I don't know. It might be that it's, if you're going to put guides on here, maybe it will stop, maybe the friction will stop the guides slipping. I don't know, but there you go. 150mm. I reckon that's 150mm. Got to be careful. I've got a bad thumb and I've taken my thumb support off. I didn't want to get it dirty because I wear it most of the time. So my thumb is feeling a bit better though. Right, table. In fact, why don't I clamp this to the bench? Right, next instruction. Place the drill press head assembly onto the column and lower it as far as it will go. Note, seek assistance when handling the drill press head assembly as it is heavy. Well, I've already been handling the drill press head assembly, so I'm assuming I can cope with this. I think they just don't want people suing them with their backs being put out by this. One drill press head assembly. Is that? I do wonder whether these locking screws no, I think that is on. Yeah. Is on and I wonder if the base isn't parallel or if the head. Ah, I think the yes. No good trying to line the head up with the base because the sides of the head aren't parallel, they're thinner at the back than at the front. So how do we line this up, I guess? Is it critical? Well, that looks lined up to me, but it would be nice if there was some way. I guess once the drill's on, we can line it up. But there we go. Right. I assume the next step is tightening up the grub screws. When the head is aligned with the base, how we're supposed to do that, I don't know. Tighten the two hex grub screws which hold the drill press head assembly in place with the supplied hex key. these hex grub screws are directly below the drive belt tension adjuster, which is here. Maybe I will turn this so that you can see the adjuster. Screw the 3 plunge handles, 3 of them, into the plunge handles mounting. Ah, yes. 3 of them. Assuming that Allen key is going to be needed, so let's leave that there. Right, screw the plunge handles in. The top of the handle is actually screwed on itself. I'm in danger of cross-threading this. I don't know the angle. There we go. God, this really feels like it's going to cross-thread. I wonder if I've got the right angle. There. Let's try another handle. Frustratingly, the end of the knob twists, so trying to get these screwed in. There we go. Yeah, that's, might need to get a wrench on that or something, because you can't screw them in using the handle, because the end of the handle just rotates. Or does it? Is it screwing on? Actually, I think the end of the handle is just screwed on and it was loose. That appears to be in okay now. Let me see if I can get the other one in. Petrified of cross-threading. There we go. I had it in at too much of an angle. There's a slight angle to it, maybe 20 degrees. But I had it pushed in at too great an angle. And again, the knob, the end of the handle is rotating. That doesn't look like it's in, but still the knob rotates. Okay, I'm not convinced that's in properly. Let's do this one. Yeah, that one's gone in deeper. Again, the end of the knob's rotating, so either it's still screwing onto the handle or it's... okay. That still doesn't look like that's seated in properly. But I don't think it can be cross-threaded because of how far I managed to screw it in. That's definitely cross-threaded. Yeah, I think that's the right angle. Ah, it's just, no. Okay, that one doesn't seem to go in quite so far. Maybe it's not engineered quite right. But it does appear to be at the same angle as all the others, so I don't think it's cross-threaded. So So there we go, there's the plunge. Next, the chuck fits using a simple Morse taper connection and relies on the friction of the surfaces to hold the chuck in position. I have no idea what a Morse taper is. Maybe it's a taper that goes. Fit the chuck to the chuck mounting by placing a small piece of wood below the chuck and operate the plunge handles to lower the chuck mounting to fit the chuck. You can alternatively fit the chuck before mounting the drill press assembly on the column. If necessary, use a soft mallet to help secure the chuck, but only use light force. I only read these instructions. Okay, it is essential both surfaces are free of oil and grease for the chuck to be secure. Now when it says free of oil and grease, do they mean that I've used a solvent to clean them? It is quite greasy. But the inside appears to be reasonably clean. Well, rather than go out to the workshop and get an actual block of wood, let's do an MDF pattern that I made. I don't know whether the press is going to go down far enough. Just try raising the platform a little bit. Just see if we can get it in even tighter. There's a spider crawling along. Well, I have to say it's a curious way of mounting the chuck, but I guess that's on. Angle the chuck guard so you can remove the screws, washers and nuts that are pre-fitted to the chuck guard that will secure the chuck guard visor. Fit the visor, then loosely reassemble the screws, washers and nuts in each hole. Ensure the visor position is correct, then tighten the fittings. I don't understand what I've just read, but here goes. Okay, now I understand where the Phillips screwdriver comes in, because some very tiny little screws here. So actually you need quite a small Phillips. I don't know why it says I've got to take these off, which I understand you do from my reading of that. But I'm going to leave them where they are. That are pre-fitted to the chuck guard. Ah, okay. This is the chuck guard. Ah! Now all is clear. Now I understand. There is a groove. I was going to try and put this around the outside, but there is a groove around the middle of this. So this actually fits in here and then swings down. Now I understand. So these are self-tap screws. And this is a nut and bolt. And I don't have a spanner here. That will be, this is going to be very fiddly. It's going to be fun getting that back on. Okay, so that drops into there. Take these out. Yeah, maybe I should have removed these, but as long as they're tight, you've got something to push against. Right, so I've managed to get that in. So now we've got some little self-tap screws, which hopefully are lined up to go straight through the visor. Yes, they are. So they just screw straight back in. That's that in. And I suppose push that in from the inside. And then we've got to get the nut on the outside. Again, maybe some cross-threading problems here. I'm going to actually hold the nut against the plate and then screw. There we go. Yeah, as I expected, I'm going to have to find a spanner from somewhere. I might have to tighten that up later. So there we go. So we have a guard with chuck access. Chuck key. Somewhere for the chuck key to go? Maybe not. Very large chuck key. I'm going to have to make sure I don't lose that. I haven't got one the same size. Okay, we're there. Probably time to plug in, except we've got some tensioning to do. It is important to secure the drill press to a work surface to prevent the tool tipping over. Fit nuts and bolts not provided to the base holes and matching holes through the work surface to secure the drill press. So we bolt it on there. For this demo I am not going to bolt it to my workmate. Some sort of chemical reactions happened here where the packaging has glued itself to the vinyl of the mains cord. Okay, we'll plug that in shortly. Incidentally, there's a converter on the plug. This has got a European plug on it, and there's a converter to convert it to a UK plug, and the fuse is loose. Right, I'll plug that in a minute, if it will reach. The drill may need adjustment of the drive belt tensioner. There's a screw here. Unscrew to remove the top. And I assume this is the drive belt tension adjuster. Not sure what this is. Oh, that I would have thought that would be the drive belt tension adjuster. I don't know what that is. Maybe you're not supposed to adjust that. So that must be the drive belt tension adjuster. Okay. Let's see what happens. Aha, okay. Well, that looks all right to me. What we've got here is a gearing system. You can move the drive belt to a different gear. Whether or not I will have to do that for that, I don't know. There seems to be some guidelines here about when you're using Forstner bits, changing the gear ratio. But let's assume for now the belt is properly tightened for the gear that's been selected. Seems a little bit fiddly to, again, position that nut. I don't know why that's not going back in. That is because there is a bolt on the other side. That is weird. Maybe you're not meant to take it all the way out. That's a little bit weird. Wow. That's a slightly strange mechanism. I'm not even sure I've done that correctly. It seems to have secured it. Okay, I don't think you're meant to fully remove that screw. I think you're just meant to remove it far enough so that the thing unclips and flips over. Okay. Let's plug it in and switch it on. And it's dead. And I have no idea why. I've taken the plug off the converter. So we're back to the European socket, and I'm using a converter. But still no luck. The switch doesn't feel right. I would have thought this should be some sort of toggle. So I don't know whether there's something mechanical wrong with the switch. I'm tempted to unscrew that plate and have a look inside, see if there's something wrong with it. But I don't know whether I'll be voiding the warranty by doing that. I think this is going to have to go back. I bought it on the internet. It's not damaged in transit, I wouldn't have thought. It's a fault of manufacture, I'd say, but well, great. Welcome back. I found out what the problem is. Something was broken. There is a micro switch just here inside the pulley housing, and there is a trigger which should have been just here, which pushes down on the micro switch when the lid's closed. And without it doing that, you can't operate the drill. Let me just show you while that's open. I'm probably breaking all sorts of laws of health and safety here. But if I'll use the chuck key. If I press the micro switch down, bingo. So I'm going to glue this back on with super glue. I don't think I broke it. I think it came off in transit. Crazily, there is a grill down here with wide open holes that this will fall into, and below it are the windings of the motor. So that would be interesting if that fell into the motor. I don't know quite how that one works. Interesting design. So, see you back in a minute or two after I've applied super glue. I've glued it in and I'm just waiting for it to dry. But can you see how flimsy the mechanism is? And that has to lock into there. So no doubt when the lid was closed, it didn't locate. Still not convinced it is going to locate. I'm wondering whether the micro switch is in the right place. It looks to me as if the micro switch is too far this way. Seems to be some evidence of rubbing on the edge of it. So I'm wondering whether this fix is going to hold. I don't think the super glue is dry yet. Ready for this? So, it's a success. With a little bit of fiddling. It doesn't seem to be very well made. That's a very flimsy little piece of plastic for such a critical component. It's no wonder it broke off. The design of it's awful. It should have been made of some form of metal. Hopefully it will hold. I just know that I'm going to have to be very careful closing the lid. I don't think I broke it. I think that was broken in transit or broken in the factory. But there you go. At least I now know what the problem is. So something to look out for in future. So one thumb up. See ya.